newest research assistant, Evie could continue to spend countless days on her own, without supervision, methodically working her way through the over 100 libraries at the university, a prospect that remained more exciting to her than anything else at this stage of her academic career. The minute the bells started to ring out, Evie, already clad in her thick woolen coat for winter, stood up, grabbed her leather bag, and headed for the door. 20 quick steps down to the street, 5.5 minutes until she passed the Castle Inn, and then a clear 10 before she saw the bend of the River Cam. There, the Bridge of Sighs loomed above the river, Gothic and imperious, the stonework tracery in its open windows designed to keep students from clambering in. This was the type of campus foolery that Evie would never seek to join, or be invited to. Jesus College, Evie's immediate destination, was rich in history, having been founded in 1496 on the site of a former nunnery. The grass beneath Evie's feet had been kept long for centuries, reflecting its historical use as fodder. During the Second World War, concrete shelters had been situated under the gardens to offer protection from German air raids. In this way, the medieval university had begun to bear the scars of modern existence, as well as its fruits. Only a few years later, the women of Cambridge were finally permitted to graduate. Evie didn't think about any of this as she crossed the grounds. Instead, her brain kept time to the rhythmic crunch of frost-covered lawn beneath her lightly booted feet. With every crisp, measured step, her weathered leather bag swung steadily against her hip, weighed down by the writing sample inside, nearly 100 pages dissecting individuality and resistance in the works of de Stael, for which Evie could not have done better, having received the highest mark possible. The bag also contained a letter of reference from junior fellow Kinross. This time, Evie could have done better, but didn't know she needed to. Mimi Harrison had written to Evie earlier that fall in anticipation of her upcoming need for employment. Mimi had urged the young girl to accept a letter of referral from her husband, who had recently finished a 3-year professorship at Jesus College and returned to Harvard along with his new wife. "But I only ever met him once," Evie had answered Mimi over the phone in the downstairs common room. "Nonsense," Mimi had replied, with an indulgent lilt to her voice. "When I arrived in Hollywood 20 years ago, it was with a letter from my father's former law partner, and I'd only met him one time more than that. Besides, Jeffrey desperately wants to help you." "But why? He does not know me." Evie often slipped back into Chawton vernacular when conversing with Mimi, whose friendship remained so rooted in their time together in the small farming village. Mimi had laughed, always trying to keep things light with the serious young woman. "But he knows me, and he knows that I know a good egg when I see one." Still, Evie had refused. And still, Mimi had had the letter sent through, just as she often did with theatre tickets and rail fare, and the many other things that she had tried to give the girl over the years. The generosity of Mimi Harrison, a famous film and stage actress, knew no bounds. But neither did Evie's pride. So today she carried the letter of referral from Professor Kinross instead. Kinross gave out many such letters each term, but poor Evie did not know that. She had been perfectly content when he had offered her one. She had done solid research work for him on his annotation of Vanity Fair, and he had called her capable and efficient. Surely that would be enough for senior fellow Christensen. It was now 2:22 p.m., and Evie sat feeling smaller than ever in the large swivel chair that faced her entire